Good afternoon, boys and girls. It's Mrs. Swiderick and my friend, Mr. Buddy, to help you review for your assessment that's coming up pretty soon. So fourth graders, I've got some good news. This assessment that's coming up soon will not have problems with unlike denominators, so that's a good thing. And there won't be any of that renaming or borrowing in subtraction problems with mixed numbers, and that's also a good thing. But there are some key things to review today. Mr. Cameron asked me to go over some points to help you study for the assessment that will be coming up soon. And that is, number one, to be sure you understand fractions. We've defined fractions as a part of a whole, like 1/2, 3/4, 11/12. If it was a whole and we had a whole pie, it would be 1/1. Or if we had a pie divided into fourths, the whole would be 4/4. And if we had a pie divided into 12 pieces, 12/12 would be the whole thing. These are fractional parts of the whole. The numerator is always less than the denominator. Now, there's such a thing as an improper fraction. Remember, Mr. Cameron says to use your British accent when you see these. That's when the denominator, 4, 5, and 7 in this case, is smaller than its numerator. 5/4 would be greater than a whole. 10/5 is greater than a whole. 9/7 is greater than a whole. Now, we need to know how to do something with improper fractions. And that is, we need to know how to turn improper fractions to mixed numbers. That becomes their simplest form. Okay? So we learned that this line in a fraction is really a division line, dividing line. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to divide 4 into 5. How many 4s are in 5? Well, we know 4 goes into 5 once, and we have 1 left over. The one that's left over becomes the numerator of the mixed number fraction. See? So 5/4 and 1 1/4 are really the same number, only written in a different way. 10/2. Let's use the dividing line again. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Oh, this time we don't have a mixed number because it goes into it evenly. So the answer is just plain 5. There are 5 times 2 is 10. There are 2 5s in 10. Now 21/5. Again, let's use the dividing line. Mr. Buddy, you're going to have to move now. Okay, we'll put you on this side. 21/5, again, divide 5 into 21. Well, I know 5 times 4 is 20. So 5 goes into 20 4 times. And how many left over? Again, 1, which becomes our numerator over the denominator, 5. And then we've got 13/6 as another example. Divide 6 into 13. I know 6 goes in, excuse me, Mr. Buddy. He's a sweetie, but he's got to move right now. 6 goes into 13 2 times, right? With 1 left over again. 2 and 1/6 is your answer. So it's important in your test coming up to know how to change improper fractions to mixed or whole numbers. Now we have to know how to do the reverse. If Mr. Cameron gives you a mixed number, make sure you know how to turn it back to an improper fraction. I know you don't know why we need to do this, but wait till we get into multiplication of fractions and mixed numbers. It'll become very clear why we need to know how to do this, to go both ways. And we learned that if we take the denominator 3 and multiply it by the whole number, 3 times 3 is 9, and add the numerator, 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11 over, don't mess with the denominator, 3. Let's try this one. Start at the bottom with the denominator, multiply 10 times 2, which is 20, plus 1 is 21 over 10. See? Same thing again. Start with the denominator. 5 times 4, okay, is 20, plus 3 is 23 over 5. And again, 6 1/3 change to an improper fraction. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 1 more is 19 over 3. So those are the first 2 key concepts to understand for the next assessment that you'll be having. Okay, grade 4. Now I'm going to take this off. Okay, and show you the next 2 concepts. Starting with the third one here, be able to simplify or reduce fractions. Sometimes those words are used interchangeably. By this we mean if we see the fraction 6/8, let's say in an answer, we have to simplify that. Right away I know 6 and 8 are even, so I know my greatest common factor here would be 2. So I divide now both the numerator and the denominator by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now, 3/4 is the simplest form of 6/8. Let's do the same thing with 5/15. They're not even, but I know my divisibility rule says if it ends in 5, I can divide 5 into both of these. So 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. 1/3 is the simplest form of 5/15. Okay, now we've got 7/21. Boy, you got to really know your timetables. Hope you've been working on extra math. I know 7 times 3 makes 21, so I'm going to use 7 as my greatest common factor. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 21 divided by 7 is 3. See how I reduced that or simplified that? Now, sometimes you'll see that you end up with an improper fraction as your answer. That is improper. We have to simplify or reduce it to lowest terms. And let's use the concept we just learned a minute ago. Dividing line. How many 4s are in 5? 1. And how many left over? 1 over 4. Now that's the simplest form of 5/4. If you had this as an answer to a problem, 12 over 10, it looks odd. It's improper. Use our dividing line. How many 10s are in 12? I know there's 1 10 in 12 and 2 left over. Okay, but you still see something wrong with that one? This fractional part of the mixed number can still be reduced. I know they're both even, so I can divide by 2. Don't forget to bring over the 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 10 divided by 2 is 5. The simplified or reduced form of 12 over 10 is really 1 1/5. Now, 36 divided by 6. Let's use our division again. 6 goes into 36 6 times. This time I don't have a mixed number. I end up with a whole number answer. But these are the simplest forms of the fractions we started with. Everybody see that? Hope so. Okay, now there's going to be some adding and subtraction of on your test, but they will all have common denominators. So that's a good thing. Okay? And there may even be a few word problems that have adding and subtracting involved in them. Are you aware of the code words? If you see total, sum, altogether, that's a sign of addition, isn't it? If you see longer, larger, less than, that's a sign of subtraction. In this case, though, these are not word problems, so let's just work the problem as we see them right now. Always start by adding the numerators. 3 plus 1 is 4, and we never, ever add the denominators. As Mr. Cameron says, we don't mess with the denominator. The only thing is 4/8. See something there? That's got to be reduced or simplified. And I know my 4 timetables. I can use 4 as my greatest common factor this time. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. There, we've got the simplest form of this problem. Okay, now we can do the same thing with mixed numbers. We start by adding the fractions first. 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, don't mess with the denominator. Put it over 3. 2 plus 1 is 3. Wow, 3 3/3. That looks very odd, doesn't it? We should know, here's a red flag coming up. Anytime we see a number over itself, that's a whole, isn't it? 3/3 is a whole. So let's add that whole with the 3 we already had. The final answer, or simplest form, is 4. Okay? Now we do the same thing with subtraction, right? Okay, the subtraction, now we subtract the numerators. 8 minus 6 is 2. Don't mess with the denominator. And then we check to see if it can be reduced. Can 2 9s be reduced? I don't think so. Can it, Mr. Buddy? Can 2 9s be reduced? No. Very good. Okay. Now, let's do the same thing with mixed numbers. 4 minus 2. Remember, you start with the fractions first. 4 minus 2 is 2. Over 7. Don't mess with the denominator. 6 minus 3 is 3. Can that be reduced any further? I don't think so. That's finished. Okay, so those are the 4 main concepts that will be on your test. Being able to simplify, reduce, adding and subtracting with common denominators, knowing fractions, the regular ones and improper ones, being able to change improper fractions to mixed numbers and mixed numbers to improper fractions. Wow, was that hard, Mr. Buddy? Was it hard? Nah. I think everybody will do well, don't you? Okay, until we see you again, good luck on your test. I think you'll do very well. Bye-bye.